Let's try this out.
Gonna do that first? Okay, big bite.
What's the big deal about a boy munching on a Pop-Tart? For Ashton, it's a milestone 1,000 miles in the making.
We're from Wichita, Kansas. Yeah, so we're far, far away in the land of Oz. When Ashton was born, he was born 11 weeks premature, and we found out he had cystic fibrosis. And we were trying to feed him, didn't go very well, and when he was about 1 year old, he stopped eating. And we put a feeding tube in, and he has been surviving with the feeding tube since he was 1. No food in his mouth, nothing.
In fact, food anywhere near him could trigger some strange reactions from Ashton, like the time he tried to help his baby sister Lola.
One time when I was feeding Lola, I looked at the stuff and it made me gag, and I threw it up. But my mommy and daddy didn't, and my grandma and grandpa didn't. I just don't get it why.
The next bite, right?
It's called food aversion, not uncommon for kids accustomed to getting all their nutrition through a tube in their stomach.
They don't like smells, they don't like the sight of food, they just have a lot of negative associations with food, and they may throw up in restaurants when someone at the table next to them orders something that, you know, they don't like. And that's kind of where Ashton's family was.
Unfortunately, where they were geographically, there were only limited feeding therapy services available.
Most therapy is 1/2 hour every week, and you go to the place, and it's a totally foreign environment, and then you're supposed to take what you learn and go back home and do it.
Double crunch.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Cool.
You're chewing really well, Ashton. Here, the therapist is doing it 5 times a day. We're having occupational therapy. We have a dietitian working with us. So we have this full service intensive program right here.
An intensive program called Happy Meal Times, where occupational therapy includes playing with your food, for good reason.
Different textures being in his mouth, different textures touching his hands. So occupational therapy works with him a lot and trying to desensitize him so that the food can actually get to his mouth.
And they work to train his mouth what to do when food gets there, like moving a sucker from one side to the other.
It was like a force field was pushing me and just keeping it this way. But there wasn't any force field.
The true test is feeding therapy 4 times a day.
I think I did have 5 more bites.
It starts with some ground rules.
You have to sit at the table, that food has to stay in front of us, and just getting him to interact with food. Pouring his milk into his own cup. All of those are things that he hasn't really done before.
At the beginning of each feeding session, Ashton gets to choose from a list of foods and potential rewards he came up with, like playing with his computer games.
I mean, I had to eat good and don't whine, and then I get those rewards. But there's another thing too. I have to beat the clock. Are you full, Frankie?
Almost.
As Ashton learns to take more by mouth, he gets less through the feeding tube. Calories, vitamins, and fluids must be monitored and adjusted.
Big scoop of volcano.
It's a delicate balancing act made more complicated by Ashton's cystic fibrosis. Fortunately, Happy Meal Times has a nutritionist with 20 years of CF experience.
Patients with cystic fibrosis have digestive difficulties as part of their disease, and so they have to take special medications, enzymes to digest their food. When you're on a tube feeding and you're on a set schedule, you always need the same amount of enzymes. However, when you're eating different amounts of foods, it's very important to adjust the enzyme dose based on what you're eating.
And within days, he was eating a lot.
We went from nothing orally to everything orally in 10 days, which after how many years of therapy is just astounding. Absolutely astounding. I got to buy his lunchbox. I was so excited. So I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to put in it. I don't know what he's going to eat yet because he's still, working on his skills. But yeah, the fact that I had to go out, I heard these other women complaining that, oh, these are so expensive, and oh, you have to get another one? Didn't you just have one last year? And I just wanted to tell them, this is the greatest thing. I get to buy a lunchbox for my kid. I don't have to send a tube. So that was really exciting. We know that we still have a lot of challenges in front of us, but I think that right now I'm just thrilled that he's going to be eating at school.